Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of the Bunkered Podcast in association with Callaway Golf. I'm Michael McEwen, thank you very much for tuning in. It is Monday the 23rd of June, for whatever that matters, but yeah, we're getting pretty close to a busy summer of golf. Some would argue it's already started. We're 3 men's majors deep. We've had a multiple of women's majors, but yeah, there's a lot of golf coming up in the next few weeks or so, not least the Scottish Open and then the Open. And after that, all eyes switch to the Ryder Cup. There is never a dull moment in this game. So yeah, we are recording the morning after the Travellers' Championship finished on the PGA Tour. There's quite a bit to get into about that, I'm afraid. Some of it good, some of it maybe not so good, but I could not, would not, and genuinely shouldn't do this alone. So good morning to performance editor Lewis Fraser and gear editor James Tate. Gents, hello, how are we?
Good morning, Michael.
Yeah.
That was almost in unison there, like some sort of school
Yeah,
assembly. Good morning, Mr. McEwen.
Good morning.
James, start with you. How was your weekend?
Yeah, pretty good actually. Spent a lot of time in the garden this weekend.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay, doing what? Speed sessions or actual gardening?
No, actual gardening. Obviously, if you listened to last week's podcast, you would have known I was a little bit under the weather. So
better now?
Yeah, a lot better now.
Okay,
so just trying to get out in the fresh air.
What a relief.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, just doing a bit of strimming, bit of cutting the grass and all that kind of stuff. I don't get hay fever like you, so I can hack it. But no, it was just nice to be out. Took the dogs for a walk. It was just quite a leisurely weekend, and then did a speed session trying to swing a golf club fast for the first time in 2 weeks, which didn't go to plan, but onwards and upwards, and we kind of worked forward to the next tournament in 3 weeks' time. So
I was going to say the next one is the weekend of the Scottish Open, leading into the Open.
Yeah.
So where's that? What's the deal?
So it's back in Germany. It's on the
Sehr gut.
Yes, it's on the
Ja is the word.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. And then it's on the Saturday the Pro-Am, and then Sundays the tournament.
What does a Pro-Am look like? Genuinely, at a long drive event, I mean, what sort of form does that take? Do you have nudgers like Lewis that show up and try to keep up with you, or how does it work?
Literally, it's as if it's a normal Pro-Am leading up to even a tour event. So there'll be a 4-ball, and then you'll have one long driver in your group.
So do you play?
So you play 18?
Yeah.
Oh,
so you
right.
play a Texas Scramble.
Okay.
So we're just basically there just to try and smash a golf ball really far. I mean, they'll see a
golf
golf ball
opportunity.
They'll see a golf ball go really far in the wrong direction as well.
Well, yeah. Oh, Lewis is playing.
Yeah, I'm coming.
I'm slightly surprised. I feel like there's a bit of a trick missed there. Surely just get them on the grid and sod the 18 holes of golf. I mean, what's that got?
So we've done that before. We did that at the World Championships in 2018 at Windstar.
Right, okay.
Windstar Casino.
Windstar. I said Windstar.
No. Windstar Casino. So that was in Thackerville, Oklahoma. Lovely place.
You're just making shit up now.
Yeah, no.
Windstar, Thackerville.
No. So the
Boomtown.
No. So fun
Thunder cracks.
So the reason why it's there is because in Texas gambling's illegal.
Yeah.
So it's just across the border from Texas. So that's why there's a massive casino literally in the middle of Thackerville, Oklahoma. And then there's a golf course there as well. So they had it there for, I think it was about 6 years. But yeah, so we did that with the sponsors when we were there as well.
There you go.
It was quite a fun experience.
Good. Yeah. The more you know, eh?
There
Indeed.
you go.
Yeah.
Lewis, tell me about your weekend. I did slightly zone out there and started talking about places that didn't exist.
Likewise.
Thackerville.
Yeah.
Google it.
Ladbrokes William Hill
My weekend, I was, mentioned Germany there. I was reminiscing about with my friends. It's a year since we were both in Germany. I think today is actually a year to the day since the game in Stuttgart, which we won't get onto.
Scotland, Hungary.
Yes.
I had a feeling, see when I opened it and I said June 23rd.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it rang a bell.
Like, why is this date significant? And it's for that reason.
Oh,
which
that
is
was
an
a
awful
shit
one.
day.
Yeah, one of the worst days ever.
Painful watch, wasn't it?
Yeah. Happy Steve Clark Day, everybody.
Yeah, that was tough.
To all who celebrate.
When the game finished, our plan was that we were going to be out celebrating all night.
Yeah.
But that turned into the opposite. So we were like sleeping in the train station, waiting for Germany's trains, which are just the worst thing ever, by the way. Like Germany's train system is probably the worst thing that's ever been created.
Absolutely could not agree more.
Yeah.
They talk about their Autobahn and that's all great and everything. Trains, holy shit.
Deutschbahn.
Oh, dreadful.
We must have tried to get
Makes ScotRail look efficient.
Yeah, we must have. I reckon we had about 20 trains the full time that we were there. Maybe one of them was on time.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't the one that like 5:30 in the morning after the Stuttgart game. That was delayed. I don't know how that's delayed at that time. There's no other trains in the line. So yeah, I was thinking.
We haven't woken up yet, yeah?
Yeah, exactly that. So
we slept in like James this morning.
Hey,
you're here now.
Yeah, I'm here now.
That's
all that matters.
It's fine. We'll wait for you.
Can I? It was my alarm didn't go off, and I don't know what happened. Just want to clarify.
You didn't set it. That's what happened.
Well, no, I did set it. It just didn't go off, and I don't know why.
Well, that's worrying.
Yes, it is. Anyway.
Was it the same people that run the German trains? That is that what the problem
Or on the same timing.
That's iPhone.
Doesn't not exist, yeah?
Yes. Before we do any more
How was your
German
weekend?
I was shit. No, it wasn't.
Come on.
You know what? My weekend was fine. Thank you for asking. What did we do? Oh, actually, it was my daughter's dance recital yesterday. So she did a piano recital at her school on Wednesday last week.
That was amazing.
Youngest soloist in the school, like from the entire school, all the parents. She's not been getting piano lessons since last October. Bounced straight up when they introduced her, sat down, opened her book, realised, that's upside down, flips it over, and then belts this thing out. Absolutely note perfect.
Amazing.
Wow.
How long has she been playing piano?
Since October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
God.
Like, we've had a piano since before she was born in the house. My wife plays, but the wee one only really, she would walk past it and occasionally just go doink. Like, that was the extent. Whereas, she's been getting lessons now since October and she absolutely crushed it. And then yesterday was our dance recital. We sound like the really sort of pushiest of parents.
We're going to be the next Taylor Swift.
She thinks so.
Oh,
well listen, you've heard Sadie on the podcast before.
Yeah.
She's itching to make a comeback. So, you know what? The school holidays are coming up this week.
Make a guest appearance.
She may come into the studio and make a guest appearance. We'll see how that goes.
Brilliant.
But weekend was fine. The dance recital was in Paisley, which was
dancing around potholes.
Broadly terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, Riverdance couldn't have danced its way out of Paisley quick enough. So it was fine though. It was all good.
Good.
Sat down last night, all excited, thinking I was going to see Tommy Fleetwood finally win on the PGA Tour, and no. So we'll come on to Tommy in a second, but let's start with, I guess, the positive news from an American perspective, at least. Maybe it is even from a European perspective. But the USA now has a bit of an issue, and we will discuss that with the big question right after this.
The Bunkered Podcast, brought to you by the new Elite Driver from Callaway.
Okay, thank you, Callaway, for your continued support. Yes, the big question this week, how does the USA solve its Keegan Bradley problem? Problem, I suppose, should probably have air quotes around about it because it is a nice predicament that they're in, albeit a predicament nonetheless. Keegan Bradley won the Travelers' Championship in his, I was going to say native New England, but it wasn't. It was Connecticut. Kind of the same area, though, up there in the Atlantic seaboard. That's right, isn't it?
I'm
really bad.
My USA geography is rubbish.
East Coast. So he's from that neck of the woods, let's just say. A big catch-all, throw a neck of the woods blanket on it, put a brave face on and move on.
Fine.
But it was a home game for him to all intents and purposes, and profited from a bit of a Tommy Fleetwood collapse. But he produced some clutch shots down the stretch as well, Keegan Bradley. Now, why is this a problem for the USA? Well, of course, he is the Ryder Cup captain for Team America. Can't say that without thinking of, the movie. Team America. You've seen Team America, haven't you?
No, I don't know.
What? How have you not seen Team America?
One of the best films.
Sorry, this is over my head here.
Oh,
Rubbish
Lewis,
for films.
we need to have a chat.
Okay.
Anyway, yes.
Sorry.
Keegan Bradley is captain of Team America. And it's a funny one because I think when they appointed him, they probably thought it was a bit of an out-of-the-box kind of masterstroke, young guy, relevant, passionate about the team. And PGA of America is probably thinking, absolutely no chance of making the side.
Yeah.
And now, well, he's right in the mix. With that win, he's moved to, I think, 8th or 9th on the US Ryder Cup standings. He's pretty close to playing his way in on merit. If he doesn't, he's got a problem. He might need to pick himself.
Yeah.
Lewis, what the hell's going on?
He's got to play. In
Do
my
you think
opinion,
so?
yeah, in my opinion, he has got to be on that team playing. There's no way. You watched that last night. Like you can't tell me there's 12 Americans better than Keegan Bradley right now. He's world number 7, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Like I know we
The
laugh
rankings
about,
are.
I know
what
we
they
laugh
are.
about the rankings, but still, it's a bit of a guide.
Yeah.
He's playing so good at the moment. I think he's got to say, look, thanks very much for giving me the chance to be captain, but I don't think a player captain works. I think Keegan has
So
got
you
to
think
be,
he needs to step aside
Yeah, I
and
think
go
so.
all in as a player?
Yeah, I do. I think he's got to go all in as a player.
I mean,
because
what a
trying to-
curveball with the match
Yeah.
3 months out.
Yeah,
That's massive.
It is, but I think that's best for their team. Genuinely, I do. He's playing so well at the moment. He's so much better served fully focusing on playing, being out in the course, rather than trying to pick teams and worrying about that. I honestly think it would be a real mistake for the Americans to try and either one, keep him purely as a captain not playing, because like I say, he's one of the 12 best Americans on the planet at the moment. Or 2, to try and split his loyalties in a sense and say, right, I maybe can't play myself in this session because I need to think about who's going to be playing in the afternoon, stuff like that. That just opens up a whole other can of worms. I think he's got to say, defer my captaincy, till another
Defer it?
time.
Wow.
Yeah, and play this year.
Ooh.
There is precedent for playing captains. I
Mhm.
mean, granted, not recently in the Ryder Cup, but President's Cup. Tiger was a playing captain in 2019.
Yep.
They won it.
Mhm.
So it's not like it can't be done. Are we overstating the role of a captain here somewhat?
I don't think so. I think being a you've seen how, well, there's been bad captains in the past, right?
Who didn't play.
Yeah, who didn't play, and things have gone wrong. So
Mhm.
I don't think we are overstating how important captain is, because you need to know your team inside out. You need to be thinking, while you're off the golf course and guys are on the course, who's going to be the best pairing for this afternoon, or who needs to have a rest today, who needs to have a rest tomorrow. Keegan's out in the course. He's not going to see that.
That's why he's got assistants, though, providing with
Yeah.
all that feedback.
Yeah, I get that. But if you're out playing as a captain, you're going to be thinking about these things. There's no way you're going to be able to switch off from thinking about other stuff, and you're not going to focus on what you're doing, which is trying to win points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's trying to be a playing captain. It could work, but I don't think it's the best way to do it.
James, what do you think?
A very good problem to have. But yeah, I don't know. It would be quite interesting to actually see how he would manage his emotions if he was a captain that was playing, because I think we know how passionate he is. We've seen that in, Medina and 2014 as well when he played. Obviously playing alongside Phil Mickelson. But I think it could be done. But like Lewis was saying, it's going to be hard for him to be able to see what's going on and be like, right, these guys are playing well together. Let's put them in the afternoon session. Or it's like, maybe we need to kind of change things up. I know he does have assistants and everything kind of obviously operating and working around like the other pairings, but I don't know. We just don't know. But how he's going to maybe manage like being in his match and then thinking about what else is kind of going on. It could be a little bit of a hard one to juggle, but I think he might need to step aside.
Okay. So Keegan himself, after winning last night, said, it's still June, so we've got a long way to go.
Yeah,
but this,
true.
the win, definitely changes things a little bit. This definitely opens the door to play. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but I certainly have to take a pretty hard look at what's best for the team. I want to come back to that. That is very interesting, that point. Every year I was out here on tour, I wanted to play on the Ryder Cup team, and then this would be the first year where maybe I didn't want to. I just wanted to be the captain, and of course, this is what happens. Yeah, but I get that maybe a consequence of, being a little bit freed up. Your mind is occupied by extracurricular stuff that's got nothing to do with playing golf, more to do with golf adjacent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe that's a good thing for him. Maybe that's freed him up. If he, it's all hypothetical, but if he wasn't captain, would he be playing as well as he's playing? Is the captaincy in some way, some weird way, benefiting Keegan Bradley as a player? Don't know, and we will never know. But yeah, he did mention there he wants to have a pretty hard look at what's best for the team. Clearly, what's best for Keegan Bradley would be being a playing captain.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty clear. He gets to have full control over the side. He gets to finish the job that he started, about a year ago now. Gets to see that all the way through to the end, and he gets to play and contribute. I get the sense that Keegan Bradley sees himself, and this is maybe a slightly poor example, it's the closest thing I can think of in sport, as a bit of a player manager, in a football sense.
Yeah.
That I can still go out there and play, and I can contribute, but I can also be the guy that's making the decisions. Thing is, you don't tend to see a whole lot of player managers.
No.
Why? It's not a good idea.
No.
Exactly.
You can't almost sit in the two camps. So then I'm trying to think, well, what's the next best thing you could be? And it's a bit of a quarterback where you're on the pitch, throwing making the big plays, making the big calls. You're the cornerstone of the team. You're the one that everyone's looking to, but there's people around about you that are providing you with info and to some extent calling the decisions for you, which would, I guess, be the assistants who are saying, right, based on what we've seen, we reckon your pairing should be X, Y, and Z. I guess what I'm getting to is I think he can do it. I think he could be a playing captain. As a golf fan, I would absolutely love to see him do it, because I think it would be objectively pretty fascinating to see how somebody tries to navigate all of those challenges. But I think you guys are right, and I think that he will probably step aside.
Yeah.
I'm surely they must have a contingency for what they do in the event that he gets himself into the mix for the team. If they haven't, that's just ridiculous planning. We already know they've got John Wood as the team manager. So maybe he's the offensive coordinator, if we want to run with the quarterback analogy.
Yeah.
So it could work. I just don't know that he's going to do it. If the Americans had come off the back of another win in, say, Italy 2 years ago, and they were going for their third win in a row on home soil, I think they could afford to take that risk.
Yeah,
But I don't think they can afford another humping, to be honest.
No.
So, yeah, probably does have to step aside.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's too many unknowns for having someone.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying about Tiger in the President's Cup, right? That's different.
It's also Tiger.
Yeah, well, it's different for two reasons, because it's Tiger and he can do everything, really.
Yeah.
And then it's the President's Cup. It's not the same amphitheatre. It's not, well, I'm not saying that as a disparaging thing. I love watching the President's Cup.
See how you stop yourself there. I love watching the President's Cup.
Come on.
But it's not the same. You're
It's
right.
not the same. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks,
it's
James.
like, I
Thanks for
love you,
digging
and
me
I
out.
love
Yeah.
spending time with you.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It isn't the same, though. It doesn't have the same
It's not the
feel,
same.
does it?
Yeah, I think
But the
Keegan's-
principle is. That's the point.
principle
The principle's
is-
the same.
yeah, but but it isn't.
Is it then, so you're saying because the stakes are higher, because it's
The
Ryder
stakes are
Cup,
higher. The
you can't
pressure
afford
is
to
so
do it.
much higher. And then that amphitheatre that's going to be at Bethpage Black, you
Yeah.
need someone with a cool head who's fully focused on just, this is what should be happening. He's going to
But
get...
that's not Keegan anyway, playing or
No,
not.
exactly. But if he's playing, then it's going to be even more so. He gets so carried away in the emotions, which is what
Yeah.
makes him a great player. And
And
that's
a
all
great
well
captain.
and good.
That's why they picked him,
Yeah.
because it matters to him and he shows it.
It does. But I think that becomes too much if you're on the golf course. You're not going to have a clear head thinking about who should be playing, who should be teeing off in a couple hours if you're coming down. Let's say he's playing in a foursomes match up against Rory and John Ram, and he's tied with 3 holes to go. He's not going to be thinking, I wonder if Ryan and Sam should be going out in the afternoon session, or should it be Justin and Jordan? Like, it's not going to be on his mind. So
That's where John Wood comes in. That's
that's
where
exactly.
Webb Simpson, Brandt Snedeker, Kevin Kisner, Jim Furyk. He's
This
got
is it.
5 people. How many? Are we honestly saying that those 5 people, all experienced pros, all right? Well, with the exception of Kevin Kisner, maybe not so much, but all with real deep Ryder Cup experience.
Yeah.
Are we honestly saying that between them, they can't give Keegan Bradley the info he needs? It's not. He's not going to play 5 sessions.
No.
You know, at best, I think he's going to play 3. So what is he?
He's quite good in the pairings. Like,
By the way,
from records.
Yeah, I could also see him playing in the afternoons, so that whole
Yeah.
thing of I need to make a snap decision at
Yeah.
lunchtime isn't so much of a consideration.
Mhm.
It's right. Here's the plan for the morning. Afternoon, I'm going to go out and I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be making my contribution to the team. At night, we'll assess.
Yeah, possibly. For me, again, it goes back to something we spoke about with Rory McIlroy, right? And
He'll be a playing captain at Adair Manor.
well, yeah,
You
here
heard
we
it here
go.
first.
But it's the preparation for events.
Yeah.
Given Rory's talking about, well, I'm not going out for 4 or 5 hours in the range anymore to put the work in. Keegan at the Ryder Cup, if he's going to play, which I think for the American's sake he should be playing, is going to have to be focusing not just on the golf course, but away from the course. When other captains in the past would have been sitting down at breakfast and saying, right, these are the pairings that we want. This is how the course is setting up, yada, yada, everything else. He needs to be out practicing, getting ready to play, because he's going to have to play a singles match. You can talk about however many sessions you want. It might come down to his singles match. If he's not prepared properly through the week, or as a player, rather than preparing as a captain, he could really struggle. That would be another point for me that I just don't think this is feasible, having a playing captain.
I think it is. I just don't think they're going to take the risk.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it's not Keegan that's the captain, bear in mind, 3 months, then who's going to take over? Because there's probably a few names in the frame. I would be looking at the vice captains. I'd be surprised if they went with anybody other than Jim Furyk.
Yeah.
He has experience, but my God, he has some terrible Ryder Cup experience.
Yep.
We all know how his captaincy went in France in 2018. If you don't, I'll sum it up like this. Really badly.
Pumped.
Yeah. As a player, one of the worst records, for whatever that's worth as a captain, but yeah, one of the worst playing records in the history of the match. Yes, he's been around a lot of Ryder Cups, but I genuinely think there's probably not much that makes Jim Furyk wake up in a cold sweat at night, but the Ryder Cup's got to be it. He's got to just wake, you know, that way you sort of waking up bolt upright and you go, ha! Like almost like Kevin's mum in Home Alone when she realises that she's got him. That's him. He's like, Ryder Cup! So, but looking at those names, Simpson, no experience, Snedeker, no real experience as a captain. I mean, Kisner. I think Kevin Kisner's there just to be the vibes guy anyway, and to hype players up.
Yeah. He's a hype man.
Yeah. He's not a captain.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So Furyk of the vice captains looks like the most likely.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a curveball for you.
Go on.
Why not Tiger?
Why not? Yeah. Yeah, look, we laughed when Keegan was, well, not laughed, but we were blown away when Keegan was appointed.
With a little quiet chuckle. Like,
yeah. Thinking, what are they
Keegan
doing? That's out of
2 in a row.
Yeah.
That's left field.
Yeah.
Tiger would be incredibly it would get people going, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the crowds?
Yeah.
They're going to be rowdy as it is. Tiger's the captain.
Absolutely.
Tiger was meant to be it. But let's not forget,
Yeah,
he was lined up. I believe he was offered it and turned it down because he's had too many other things going on at the time. Yeah, I think his focus was really at that point on the PGA Tour and the whole live stuff. And he really wanted to be there, be present to try and fix those issues or at least play a part in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems like that's settled down a lot.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in part 2, but I mean, the PGA Tour is getting a new chief, with Jay Monahan being, I love the expression, sunsetted. Sacked.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Slowly.
A very long goodbye, but goodbye nonetheless. Yeah, so I don't think Tiger necessarily would have as much. I mean, also, he's only got to do the gig for 3 months.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what else is he doing? He ain't playing.
No,
No.
definitely not.
He's rehabbing probably. Tiger could walk straight in, and I think
Walk, maybe.
Hobble.
A good thing he'd be riding around on a golf cart.
Tiger could be brought into the room.
There we go.
And honestly, I think he would have no problem in picking up and leading that side, taking up the mantle from Keegan Bradley. I genuinely think that the players that are going to be on that team would respond better to it being Tiger than Furyk as well. I really don't mean to sound like I'm disrespecting Jim Furyk. Great career, but you've got two options. If you're Scotty Scheffler, if you're Colin Morikawa, if you're Ben Griffin, you're sitting in the team room and in walks Jim Furyk or in walks Tiger Woods.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer.
Absolute
when you put it that
no-brainer.
way, yeah.
Just a different aura, isn't it? As soon as Tiger walks in the room, everyone's just like buttoned. Right.
Yeah.
Gonna listen to what he's got to say. Jim Furyk, like you said, everyone's probably still chatting. It's like one of those teachers where you can get away with stuff, and then there's like another one where you're just gonna like sit
your feet on the table.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think Tiger would be a great shout, but whether he's up for it, that's a
Why wouldn't he be?
Well, he said no already, but it just depends if he wants to do it or not.
Yeah. But I mean, he said no when the job was going to be the guts of 18 months. Now it's going to be 3 months, and all the reasons that he had to not do it previously don't look like they're as big of reasons anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see him do it.
At Bethpage as well.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
Imagine how rowdy that crowd's going to get if
Yeah.
Tiger walks onto the tee as captain.
Just a slow walk.
From
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
from a European point of view, thinking about it now, that's a scary prospect.
Oh, you'd
So
have,
scary.
You don't want Tiger as the opposition captain going over there as well. There's been so much talk about how this is going to be a really difficult place for European golfers to go.
Yeah.
Imagine Tiger's like, you're talking about.
It's a good
like,
point, actually, Lewis. That does
Yeah.
change the dynamic for Europe a lot.
Really
Like,
does.
Tiger gets
You're
it.
talking about like how Ben Griffin's going to respond. Right?
Mhm.
How are European players going to respond?
Good point.
Tiger
Yeah.
standing watching them on the first tee, nervous as it is, then
Yeah.
him being the captain, you think, oh my God.
you'd definitely be bricking it a little bit, wouldn't you? The nerves would definitely
A
go
lot.
through the roof.
Yeah, not
Bricking
just
it.
a little bit. Yeah.
You would.
So how long are we giving Keegan to make the decision then? As I say, it's... You're right there.
Yeah,
James,
sorry.
Better.
Not this again.
After all.
Jet lag kicking in once again.
Yeah,
It's as I said, it's June 23rd. The match is 3 months away. How long, if you're in charge of the PGA of America, Lewis, how long are you going to give Keegan Bradley to make his mind up?
Like, not long from now. It's got to
No.
be a couple of weeks time to
Pre-open?
reopen, definitely. Yeah, I think so, because the Open's big for everyone, and that for Keegan, it's probably, for any captain, it's like the last time you're going to have all these players together, certainly the last time they're playing a major before the Ryder Cup. So, yeah, I would have him pre-open,
Okay.
making a decision. And if that decision is, like we've said, he might be playing captain or captain and ruling himself out of playing, then that's absolutely fine. But they need to know what's happening, because the quote that you read out, he's left it very ambiguous there,
Yeah.
Keegan, as to whether he is going to play or not. And that's not good, having that uncertainty this close to the event. No use.
I agree.
So, okay, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be morbidly fascinating. From a European point of view, to put on that hat, I'm delighted that all the noise right now is in the States, because all the focus is off the European side. And no one's talking really about, okay, so who's in position A, who's in position B, who needs to have a good summer, who really badly needs a really good month, whatever. No one is really talking about Luke Donald. No one's talking about who his vice captains are. There's just nothing there. The European team is, at this point in time, almost a secondary consideration for the Ryder Cup. All the focus is on America. And as someone who wants Europe to win, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really good. You know,
Fly under the radar a little bit.
well, yeah, exactly.
Massively.
Exactly.
Be really cool.
We've obviously had our players winning. Again, speaking we as in Europe, we've had our players winning on the PGA Tour already this year. Sepp Straka's got a couple of wins. Rory, as we know, Ludwig Åberg winning as well. Tommy Fleetwood. It should have been. It should have
A
been.
tough one.
Went into the final round of the Travellers yesterday at TPC River Highlands with a 3-shot advantage. I don't think anybody who follows golf, particularly at that level, had decided yesterday morning that this was done. It was a foregone conclusion. We all know that 3 shots can go very quickly, as it indeed it proved.
Yeah.
But I think really for Tommy, it's the nature of the loss. Coming down the last with a 1-shot lead, hitting the fairway, lest we forget,
Yeah.
and walking off the green having lost by 1. That was utterly gut-wrenching. Now we can talk, and we should tip our cap to Keegan for the way that he played that hole. Great drive, phenomenal gutsy, frankly, approach shot over the bunker, leaving himself, what was it, 9 feet for birdie, which he obviously canned. But Tommy, son, I mean, that's grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory, James, is it not? Where did it all go wrong?
I mean, me and Lewis were kind of talking a little bit about this this morning, but I think you kind of saw it from the start, to be fair. You went three bogeys and a birdie in the first 4 holes. You're just like, oh, you could see the nerves. And then he tried to settle himself a little bit, which he did. Like, he managed to get 2 birdies back. And then 16, it was just like, you could see the other guys starting to pull a couple putts.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, you'd made that mistake. And I'm like, oh no. And then the chip back kind of went about 15 feet past, and then the putt back up. It was just never really, it looked like a lag putt, to be honest. And you're just kind of like, oh God, please don't do this. Please don't do this now. And then it seemed to be, you're like, right, 18, here we go. Right. All you need to do is hit the fairway and you're good. And he did that. And I'm thinking, yes, great start. And then Keegan Bradley went and hit that second shot. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
and fair play to him. But I wasn't expecting him
Tommy
to
went
take
first, didn't he? He hit his approach first and got it so wrong. Like, it was a complete missed club.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, sometimes in those situations, I think pros might go down a club just purely from adrenaline, because sometimes you do kind of catch one really flush and it flies on you. And if he had clubbed up, he might have gone long. Like, you're unsure, but he might have just slightly mishit it, caught a little bit low in the face, bit of nerves. Unsure, but yeah, it was a complete misjudgment in club. But then taking 3 from there was just like, oh, it was heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah,
it really was tough. And then all fairness to Keegan Bradley, like, what a birdie to finish with. But yeah, Tommy just didn't look like he was in control the whole way around, and it was just kind of, he looked like he was searching. And when a golfer's like searching for something, that's not really what you want to be doing. No, not at all.
Lewis, afterwards, Tommy said about the indecision and the 18th fairway specifically. He said, just couldn't get a track of the wind. Obviously, you're juiced up a little bit. You've got a little bit of adrenaline. I just got the wind wrong. It was in off the left, then it feels like it dies, and it feels like it goes off the left again. In between 2 shots, and picked the wrong one. Then I hit one that kind of spun up a little bit against the wind, but went nowhere. I was kind of feeling this might be the moment to hole a long one. I've seen people do it recently, so I was like, maybe it's my turn, but he did the opposite and 3-putted. So what do you make of those comments there? A little bit of a window into, I guess, the pressure of trying to win, and it shows just how bloody hard it is when it's a gust of wind that could be the deciding factor.
Yeah, that's it. It's the stuff about, like, him thinking it was his time to hole a long putt, and then he's 3-putted. You just, like you say, it's gut-wrenching. Then that's someone who knows that they were right there and had the chance and have lost it. But
see, to that point, sorry, can I just jump in when you said, his awareness of other people and what they were doing at that moment in time? Is that an example of him not being present enough, of his mind drifting a little bit too much? Because being present, everyone says it's so important, but it must be bloody hard.
Yeah, I think the situations got to him there. You're right. Trying to be present is all well and good, and we talk about, like, taking one shot at a time. If that's the 18th hole on Friday, he hits, I think it was a 9-iron. He ended up hitting a wedge. He hits his 9-iron to the middle of the green, makes a 4, gets himself in a playoff. Or he doesn't. Pulls it. Yeah, he pulls it, or he does what Keegan does and goes straight at the pin. So he's playing the situation there, which is understandable. Yeah, he's just got it wrong. Like you say, it's fine margins. It's so difficult to win on tour. And the longer it kind of, Tommy's touched on it, the longer it goes without winning, then the harder it probably becomes. We could be, if he'd hit that wedge and hit it to the middle of the green, 2-putted, and Keegan misses his, then you say, oh, brilliant, like, really good decision. If he hits 9-iron, it goes over the back and he probably makes a 5. It's fine margins throughout the round. But as James said, he never really quite looked comfortable, didn't get off to the best start. And even when he was playing, we've all had rounds like this where we're playing quite good, but you just feel like you're not quite in control of it. That's how it kind of felt, like middle of the back 9 for Tommy.
Yeah, he didn't get, he just wasn't in like a rhythm. Everything seemed a little bit out of sorts to what I was watching. And I know, like, when he was saying, it's like, why not me? Why, like, to hold a longer putt? That getting a little bit ahead of yourself and thinking that, you're starting to visualize you picking up a trophy and stuff like that.
Which can be good. Visualization can be good, but
it can be, but
time and a place.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, if you are in that zone and you're like, nothing can go wrong, all you're thinking about is the next shot. But when there's so much going on and you're like, you've obviously got a lot of kind of like adrenaline, emotions, like, oh my God, Keegan Bradley, he's stuck it to like 9 feet. He's got a birdie putt. I've got to try and like hold this. And too much going on in his head, I think. And he knows he's on the back foot. And I think he probably felt that the whole way around.
I am left to wonder if that had been Rory McIlroy, then the Harry haters would be out in force in a big, big way.
Yeah.
It's worth pointing out that Ian Finnis, Fleetwood's caddy, is exactly the same as Harry is to Rory. They're pals.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how he got the gig first and foremost. Interesting that I don't really see, maybe I follow the wrong accounts, but I'm not seeing an awful lot of people questioning Finno's role in that final hole. I'm not suggesting, by the way, that he did anything wrong. Finno and I are Twitter pals, but I still have to call it as I see it. It's one of those where, I feel like Harry would have been given dog's abuse. Finno maybe less so, but that's where you really want your caddy to be really decisive with you. Like, this is how we're playing this. If Tommy's the one with the indecision, then the caddy can't afford to have the indecision. He's got to make the decision for him. Best example I can give of that would be, again, it's Tiger Woods we're talking about, but the 2008 US Open at Torrey Pines, final hole in regulation, and Tiger is about, I'll get the clubs wrong, I think he was going to hit 7. Steve Williams talked to him and said, no, you're hitting 8. You're full of adrenaline right now. I can see it in you. Hit this club. And he stuck it to the middle of the green. 7, he would have absolutely flown it.
Yeah.
And then rocks up and holds a 20-footer, gets into the playoff, goes to 91 holes, beats Rocco Media on one leg, and the rest is history. Decisive caddies are worth their weight in gold.
100%.
Aren't they? So
yeah,
again, I'm not pinning this on Finno at all. That is not what I'm attempting to do. I'm just pointing out, I guess, maybe the double standard that Harry would have been given dogs abuse.
I think it's also when you look at the amount of time and the indecisiveness of the second shot on 18. It's like, yes, you are full of adrenaline, but if you're going to hit a wedge, that thing's going to spin and balloon if it's kind of coming into the wind. Surely you'd try and play a secondary option with a 9-iron, even if it is try and take a little bit off. Surely Tommy's a good enough player in that situation to play like a stock cut 9-iron into the middle of the green. Like, why wouldn't you do that? Just take the wind out of it, hit something a little bit lower, and just stick it in the middle of the green. Regardless,
sounds easy.
It sounds easy, but like you need to make more of a definitive decision in that situation rather than kind of not like humming an iron on what you're going to hit.
Yeah,
like that shot right there is just costing the tournament.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There was a few other shots he hit over the course of the round that didn't exactly help his chances. No. There is a bit of a suggestion that Tommy Fleetwood, much like, let's say, Tony Finau and Ricky Fowler, is that he's just too nice and he lacks that killer instinct, whatever that is. Lewis, is there anything in that, or is this just greeting card pish?
Birthday card pish, as Jack Jarvis would say. Yeah, he's a nice guy. There's nothing wrong with that. JJ Spawn's a nice guy. He won the US Open.
Correct.
So, but killer instinct, I think, is maybe a slightly valid thing to say, in that when you're under that pressure, you still want to stick to your game plan, which should be relatively aggressive. And that doesn't seem to have happened last night for Tommy. He's probably played quite defensive golf coming in, making sure he doesn't hit it in the water in 16, gone long, made bogey, making sure he doesn't short side himself on 18. But I don't think it's because he's a nice guy. Like, I get what people are saying, that maybe thinking, he needs to be like Tiger and not talk to anyone and be blinkers on. Nah, that's not the reason that he's not won yet. I think he will win on tour, but being a nice guy is not hindering him, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. Also worth pointing out, he spoke to the media afterwards. TV, reporters on the ground, he fronted up, which was, I thought, really impressive. Obviously, I'm biased. I'm sure you guys are the same. We work in the media. We want to speak to these guys that every available opportunity. People say, oh, well, what's the point in speaking to someone when they've just lost? Colin Morikawa probably would champion that cause more than anyone else. But I thought Tommy Fleetwood last night demonstrated just how valuable that insight can be. He spoke very articulately, as we've become accustomed to. He's a brilliant talker, as Tommy. But he spoke with real heart and passion and heartbreak. And it was a window that we don't get to see often enough. It showed that it matters. I mean, there's so much made of the fact that Fleetwood is the highest earning player in the history of the PGA Tour without a win. He pocketed over $1 million yesterday for his efforts and looked absolutely distraught. That's not something we want to see, okay? That's not in a... we want to see it. I'm saying it's not something we want to see, and since you don't want to see anyone devastated.
No.
But I think it's important to see that from time to time as well.
Yeah.
It's obviously not going to work for every player. I think Tommy's, I would argue, a bit more mature. He's got a better perspective than a lot of other guys who just can't see past the end of their own nose. But I thought that was, one, to his credit that he spoke last night, and two, really genuinely fascinating, if that's not overstating it too much, Lewis.
Yeah, no, it's not overstating it. And you're right, it's a window into the anguish that he was feeling.
Yeah.
But when he does win, then we'll look back in this and think, well, it's context. That's what we talk about with these interviews all the time. It makes you want him to win more the next time. So when he's in that position, you think,
go on, Tommy.
God, yeah, go on, Tommy. Like, we saw how much it means to him.
Yeah.
Just what it's all about. Like, that's how you get fans at the end of the day. People will watch that and
he'll have earned a few more last night.
He will have earned a lot.
100%.
People will be rooting for him after that. If you're not rooting for Tommy Fleetwood after watching that last night.
Yeah.
In particular. Like,
in particular, the interview.
Yeah, in particular, the interview. Because it would be easy for him to say, nah, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have been sitting here like bashing him for
Not
it.
at all.
We've been completely
We're used to
understanding. Yeah, well, we're used to it. But you saw how devastating it clearly was for him. He's standing on the edge of the 18th green, like head in hands, basically. So,
and I think the response that's generated, even just, you know, for whatever it's worth in social media so far, the goodwill that appearance has engendered, and I think maybe the sentiment that has engendered just goes to show the value of doing it. Too many people think, well, they've just chosen not to speak to the media. Wrong. You've chosen not to speak to the fans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're the people who are watching. They're the people who are reading. They're the ones who are consuming. And Tommy Fleetwood, by speaking the way he did last night, has earned himself, I'm quite sure, hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands more fans than he had when he walked off the 18th green.
Yeah.
People appreciate that. They appreciate the candor, the honesty. I think, frankly, people appreciate the vulnerability of it.
Yeah.
And as I said, it won't work for every player.
No.
Everyone's different. But it's so valuable when you do get to see it, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. I think when even if they are hot-headed, just say, it's like, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'll come back. Like, it is worth its weight in gold. We saw Matt Wallace last year after the Scottish Open when the DP World Tour did his little interview, like Big Brother style.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And like they were asking him questions and he had just missed the cut. And you could see how kind of like emotional he was about it. And I'm just like, I want him to do well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm in his corner because what he's just done there is just kind of shown like how much it means to him, even though we know he's quite a fiery character, but it's real.
Well, that's it, James, in a way that we can't tell otherwise.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? People will observe someone's behavior.
Yeah.
They'll see the headlines. They'll put two and two together and they'll draw conclusions. Up until then, I think there had been a bit of a sense with Matt Wallace that he was a hothead, that he was maybe a bit aggressive and blah, blah, blah.
No.
He's not. Matt Wallace is a top guy.
Yeah.
He's a genuinely really nice bloke. Yes, he's had to get better. Yeah. He's had to lean into some demons and fix things and maybe change and moderate his behaviour to some extent, but we all do that.
I know.
I think you're right. It's one of those that unless Matt Wallace tells his side of the story, and by Matt Wallace I mean any tour pro, then the story's incomplete. And storytelling's important. Do we want to live in a world where it's just AI pish and people rewriting other people's stories using ChatGPT, for example?
Yeah.
You know,
just a dig.
You know, I think it's I think it's important that we hear from the people that we write about.
100%. Just that little sneak peek of insight, and that's it.
Exactly
I also
that.
think for players, for Tommy, it's probably helpful to be able to just
cathartic.
get it off his chest. Yeah. He said himself, like, he's probably going to go and sulk for a bit now, but he's had, before he goes and sulks, he's had the opportunity to talk about what's gone wrong and how he's feeling. And once you get it off your chest, probably will be able to sleep a little bit easier and come back the next time a bit more motivated. So probably a good thing for players just to be able to rant about it for 5 minutes.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Use it as a bit of a therapy session.
Yeah.
Get Dr. Fraser Crane credentials for the Open.
Just get the sofa and lie down.
Right, gents, time's marching away from us. Before we go to the break, it's time for Asked and Answered. If the answer is 1963, then what is the question whilst you're thinking? Couple of responses from social media. The Conrad Golf Rankings, which I love. I love the name. I love the hustle. I love the fact that it's OWGR adjacent. So well done,
Conrad.
Mr. Conrad.
Is he just ranking golfers himself? Is that?
It's quite good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have a wee look.
All right, okay.
I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying
Right.
it's a system that the tour should adopt. I'm saying it's different. It's another methodology.
Okay.
You can decide for yourself if
I'll take
it's
a look.
accurate or not. But yes, they have suggested, is it the last year that there wasn't a 59 shot on the Corn Ferry Tour? Good question. In fact,
week.
there's every chance that is factually accurate.
It could be true. Yeah.
There's a lot of low scores on the Corn Ferry Tour. I don't mind that so much because making birdies is a hard thing to do. You should be encouraged to go as low as you can because when you get in the PGA Tour, well, you don't make birdies, you're not going to last long.
Yeah.
But
True.
59 feels like a number that we should try and protect a little bit. And some tours do a better job of that than others. Jamie Devlin suggested, is it how many balls tour pros would lose if they didn't have crowds and spotters helping them during events? So not so much 1969 as 1,969. Jamie,
Yeah.
100% on board with you there. I honestly believe that if I had a bunch of guys following me around with those wee flags, finding my ball, I'd be on tour.
You'd be on tour?
I'd have a tour card.
Yeah, why not?
Of course I would.
Yeah. If they
Hit
could
the
kick
ball in
it
some
back in the
places.
fairway as well, that'd be great.
No
wouldn't
one knows how good my recovery shots are because I don't find my ball. I could be
Yeah.
like Mick Seve.
it? Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
You're
It's-
talking Mick Shite.
But I don't get a chance to practice my recovery shots and demonstrate. I could
Mhm.
be sitting on the most incredible talent, the most
Just don't
niche
know.
golf talent, and I wouldn't know because there's nobody helping me find my ball.
No.
If they did, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'd be out there on tour.
When you hit it in the cabbage, it's gone. You're re-teeing. Whereas the other guys just walk, they
Yeah.
just point to the side and like,
It's over
yeah, it's
here.
over there. Go and find
Yeah.
it. I'll walk down and get it.
Exactly that.
Say
So-
thanks to the bloke with the flag and then walk off.
It's like those little flags that you put on top of, a BLT or one of those giant
Yeah.
burgers.
Club
to hold them
sandwich.
together. Yeah.
yeah.
So no, Jamie, I'm with you. I think it's a good shout, Jamie, but it is nonetheless wrong. If you thought it was in fact right, you may have noticed that there was a comma missing. Not to be a pedant, but 1969 without a comma is 1969. 1,969 has a comma after the one.
It's still a number though. It's just not written very well.
Lewis,
Here.
Backing up. Yeah, I know it's the year. I know that's what we're getting at.
Making sure.
so go on then. What have you guys got? Lewis, come to you first. I've got a feeling it's going to be another 1,969.
Was it? It's 1963, isn't
63? Yeah. Sorry,
Right,
what did I say? 69.
it? You're saying 1969, yeah.
No, it's 63.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, was it the original title for James Blunt's smash hit? But that wouldn't have worked if it was 1969, would it?
James Blunt.
1973.
Was it really?
Yeah, that.
He's got
aye.
a song.
Yeah.
We're getting a little window into your music taste here.
Yeah.
James Blunt.
I like
yeah.
James Blunt, yeah.
It's
It's probably what Tommy Fleetwood was listening to at home last night.
James Blunt when he sings.
Do you know what he needs in his bag? 3 wise men.
Yeah, he
There you go.
Hey, we're back in the room.
Oh.
No, James Blunt
There
when
for
he
that.
sings sounds like he's stubbed his toe anytime he's opened his mouth.
That's really good, Michael. That's a career
terrible.
in being an impersonator for him.
Listen, hidden talent.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
Ross,
yeah,
sorry.
no, I thought it was.
James?
Is it the year you were born?
Fuck right off.
Is it not?
Who do you think you are?
Oh, sorry about that. Thought I was close.
What the hell?
Just out by 21 years.
No need for that.
Oh well. Worth
I
a
hope
go.
Martin Borgmeyer kicks your arse at the Worlds. I hope Kyle Berkshire drives one into your shins.
Oh, that would hurt.
That
God.
ball speed.
Yeah.
No, you're well, one of you is more wrong than the other. That's for sure. 1963. It was a very important year, actually. I'm just looking at it just now. We had, obviously, the assassination of JFK, the March on Washington. Martin Luther King delivered his I Have a Dream speech. It was the start of Beatlemania. That was a band, Lewis.
Yeah.
They were
Got that.
relatively big from Liverpool.
Right.
But there was also something else significant that happened that year in a golf sense, and I will tell you the correct answer right after this.
With the Golf More card, you only pay half the green fee on over 1,400 courses in Europe. For instance, you have almost 300 courses to choose from in South Europe and almost 250 courses in Great Britain. Join over 100,000 golfers across Europe. Get a Golf More card and play more golf. If you go to golfamore.com/bunkered, you can enter a raffle to win a Golf More card. If you prefer to buy a Golf More card right away, you'll find a special bunkered discount code on the same page. Visit golfamore.com/bunkered today. Golf More. More golf for the money.
Welcome back. Part 2 of this week's Bunkered podcast in association with Callaway, Michael, James and Lewis with you today. Before the break, gents, the asked and answered. The answer, 1963. What is the question? Decent guesses all round, apart from you, James, which was...
I thought mine was the most
I
accurate.
think it's something that we need to pick up off air.
Okay.
In the company of HR. No, the correct answer actually is, the correct question is, when did the USA last have a playing captain in the Ryder Cup? That was indeed 1963. Gentlemen, bonus points if you can tell me who it was.
Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer, bonus points for you. Lewis,
you very
well
much.
played. The 15th Ryder Cup, in fact, which was
Yes.
played
Yeah, good guess.
at the Atlanta
Thanks.
Athletic Club.
As if it was right in front of you there.
Almost here.
On a
Look,
bit of
I knew. I knew. I was only messing with James
And-
one thing. I knew that.
Do you know what? It worked out pretty well for the US on that occasion. 23-9 they won.
Oh,
A pumping.
wow.
Arnold Palmer was going up against John Fallon of Great Britain. We're discussing this like Great Britain, but they had an Irishman playing. It definitely says on Wikipedia, which is obviously always right,
Always.
that it was Team GB.
Yep.
But they had Christy O'Connor Sr. playing for them on that occasion. Team GB. So
Not GB and I.
I would have said.
Just
Great-
get him in.
great.
It's fine. Who cares? What's that? You free those dates, Christy? I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure Gene Littler, Julius Boris, Bob Golby, Tony Lima weren't really that bothered about who they were playing.
Yeah.
So have as many Irishmen as you like, lads. We'll still beat them, I think would have been the mantra. But yeah,
Fair.
a proper kicking. That Team GB and I side included Peter Allis, who was only 32 at the time, making his 5th Ryder Cup appearance. Neil Coles, Tom Halliburton, Brian Huggett, Bernard Hunt, Jeffrey Hunt. A really good week for the Hunt family. However many of them there were. I'm pretty sure Bernard and Jeffrey weren't related. Or were they? You tell me.
Family
Christy
funds.
O'Connor Sr., Dave Thomas, Harry Wheatman, and George Will. Thank you, James, for bringing us as close as we have ever got to the C-bomb. Let that not happen again, please. The US side, Arnold Palmer, obviously playing captain, Julius Boris, who was 43, Billy Casper, Dow Finstervald, Bob Golby, Tony Lima, Gene Littler, Billy Maxwell, Johnny Pott, and Dave Regan. The youngest player on the side that week was Johnny Pott, a rookie who was 27. There you go. Learn something new every day.
Yep. And Jim Furyk was the vice captain.
No, they won. There's no chance he was involved.
yeah, he gave a miss that year. He was on holiday.
So yeah, there you go. It's what's that? 62 years since the last playing captain for the US in the Ryder Cup. Obviously, as I said, Tiger has been a playing captain more recently in the President's Cup. There is precedent for it. Let's see what Keegan decides to do. It does feel like, in a weird way, like all of the balls are in Keegan Bradley's court at this moment in time. Like it's up to him.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. I mean, PGA of America still presumably wants to have some kind of say.
They want to win firstly.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
It does seem strange. He doesn't.
Well, you just let us know when you're ready, Keegan.
Yeah, it's fine. If you want to play, then play. You can pick yourself or not. It's up to you. But if you qualify, then you can play or not play. Whatever you think, mate. You just do whatever you want.
You do what you want, Keegan.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
as long
you
as we
just do
win,
what you want.
that's it. Yeah.
You let us know.
Yeah.
Get back to us.
Yeah.
A later date. Send us a text.
Yeah.
So, before we go any further, there are a few other subjects that we're going to bounce about in this part. Before we do, a quick plug, if that's okay, for our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bunkered. Just go to YouTube and search for Bunkered. Better yet, subscribe. That way you don't miss any videos. But we had a new video drop on Friday just there. You guys attempting to do the Happy Gilmore swing. Now, there was a little bit of science
Happy
behind this.
Gilmore.
We wanted to prove or not that swinging the club like Happy Gilmore with the run-up helps you to hit it further.
Yeah.
And in you, James, we have a real life Happy Gilmore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the movie back in the mid-90s, hitting at 400 yards was laughable. It was so away in the future. But you're now doing that on the regular. But we wanted to see how it would impact or improve you. We also wanted to see what impact it would have on a regular golfer.
Yeah.
In your case, Lewis, single digits. Don't want to spoil the video for anybody, so let's not give anything away. But Lewis, will you be persisting with the Happy Gilmore swing?
No. Move on. Any further questions?
Do you regret not practicing the Happy Gilmore swing before filming?
No, because if I did that at a driving range, I wouldn't be allowed back.
You don't hit it far enough, mate, so I think you would have been fine.
No, I was hitting. It's not the distance; it's the direction. You know,
and the contact.
Or lack of. You know, I think it's a Tin Cup when he's down the far end of the range, and then one kind of hosel rockets across all the other actual golfers, and he's like, "Who did that?" There was a bit of that going on.
Oh dear.
Yeah, Les said
it's a good watch.
It is a good watch.
Go check it out.
There's a few genuinely laugh out loud moments, which is the whole point of Happy Gilmore anyway, is it not? So
it was a lot of fun doing it, but like the actual kind of the numbers were quite surprising as well though at the end.
Surprising results, I would say.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it at that. We won't give away the ending.
Give it away.
No.
Go watch it now.
After
the pod, not right now. Finish listening to this. Thank you.
You're an absolute liability.
I know.
You really
my
are.
ADD is ridiculous. Right. Okay. Sorry.
Do you want to take over?
No, because then we'd be here all day.
Yes, exactly. I'll stick to it. So, couple of points we want to talk about in this part. We'll probably go through them pretty quickly. We won't dwell as long as we did on, say, Tommy or Keegan. There is a new boss at the PGA Tour. This news came out last week. All pretty quiet in the end. You know, I was expecting when Jay Monahan finally did announce that he was stepping down that there would be a bit of, gasps and the occasional peril clutched, but it seemed to be a bit of a, okay, that seems about right in terms of the reaction.
Yeah.
So Monahan's going to be stepping down when his contract expires next year. He's been there, the guts of a decade already. I cannot wait to see how history judges him. He hasn't had the easiest tenure.
No.
Some of that completely out with his control. COVID, for example. The emergence of LIV. You can't stop other tours starting up. But then other things that were maybe in his control, such as how he responded to the arrival of LIV. Really fascinating decade or so. I'm pretty sure Alan Shipnick started writing the book about it already. If he hasn't, Alan, there you go. Get to work.
Get on it.
But yeah, so Monahan will be stepping down. He's being sunsetted. And, they've gone out with the building to get his replacement. So a bit of a structural shift at the PGA Tour. So it doesn't seem totally clear if the role of commissioner will continue to be a thing. Tiger in time. But they've got a new chief executive, the first chief executive, who is going to gradually take on Monahan's day-to-day responsibilities. And that is a man called Brian Rolap, who comes to PGA Tour after a very successful stint at the NFL, American football. James, I'm really quite surprised that the PGA Tour has looked outside the building, that's gone outside the golf fraternity to get a replacement for Jay Monahan. What am I reading too much into it? If not, what do you read into that decision?
They're obviously kind of looking at someone who's got a slightly different perspective that maybe doesn't have like a huge in-depth knowledge of golf. That's probably going to bring some, hopefully, from what I've read and what the new chap coming in is offering.
Brian,
that's the one. God, my brain is ridiculous today. Yeah,
if you'd set your alarm.
I know, I would have woken up on time as well. Anyway, big man Brian's coming in, isn't he? So, but he's saying he's got like loads of new ideas that he wants to bring to the table. So he's obviously got a lot of ideas that he wants to kind of like roll out. What those are, he's not said anything about them. So he's keeping his cards pretty close to his chest. So it'll be interesting to see what someone, especially from the NFL, is going to bring and deliver to the golfing world. It's quite a huge difference in sports for a start, an organization. So I'm kind of,
at least because the PGA Tour is an event every single week. The NFL, it's a year-round business, but the playing season is September to January.
Yeah,
and for most teams, it's September to December, really, isn't it? So
exactly. So it'll be really interesting to see what he brings to the table and what kind of new ideas he has. The one thing he did say was the elevated events were a good thing for golf. What he means by that, I have no idea. But like,
are you sure, Brian?
Are you sure about that, Brian? Do you know what you're doing? It's like,
what is an elevated event, Brian? Name 3 elevated events, Brian. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. You know the golf.
I'll give you a clue. You were at one last week.
You know the golf ball is round as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he brings to the table. But again, quite surprised they've gone kind of out with.
Yeah, it's not
to look for someone
what they
else.
Typically do.
Yeah,
there's not exactly been a whole lot of PGA Tour bosses.
No,
Dean Beeman and then Tim Fincham. Fincham's deputy was Jay Monahan. So yeah, they've looked outside of HQ, outside of Pontevedra, which is a fairly bold move.
Yeah,
but let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt. This guy, Brian Rolap, let's have a look at his Wikipedia, shall we? And I'm going to jump straight to personal life. Not that should matter, but there's always good stuff in there.
Go on.
Rolap lives in Darien, Connecticut, with his wife Cindy and their 4 children. He grew up outside of Washington, D.C. His father was Rich Rolap, the longtime president of the American Horse Council.
Oh.
Wow.
Horse Council?
American Horse Council. What a body of...
I will be coming back to that link later.
Yeah.
He's a practicing member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Is that Mormons? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the Mormon Church.
His head.
Yep. He's a national trustee for the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and a member of the National Advisory Council at the Marriott School of Business at BYU. Let's have a look at his professional career then, shall we? So there's a lot of stuff there. He's been at the NFL in various different roles for quite some time. He moved to the NFL Network 2003, and I think he's been there ever since.
Wow, he's been in the NFL for a long time.
Yes. Prior to 2018, he had been named to the Sports Business Journal's 40 Under 40 Hall of Fame and had also been touted as a potential successor to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Whatever.
Just for the American listener.
Goodell. Roger Goodell.
Goodell. That's how the Yanks say it.
Goodell.
Yeah.
Not Goodell.
No. Goodell.
You said exactly
Roger
the
Goodell.
same thing there.
Roger Goodell.
Goodell.
Like Gerard Butler.
Yeah. Goodell.
Gerard, lads. It's Gerard.
Yeah.
So, Gerard. Yeah, he's been around the NFL for quite some time. It's going to be interesting to see what he brings. Now, at the top of his Wikipedia page, it does say, while within the NFL, Rolap was responsible for its media businesses, including digital media, NFL Network, advertising sales, sponsorships, media assets, television contracts, and digital media rights. It feels like quite a lot on the plate there, but that also reminds me of Keith Pelly when he joined the DP World Tour, or European Tour as it was at that time. He came from what looked like quite a modern facing media background, so it doesn't look to me like Rolap has been necessarily sitting alongside Goodell day to day, but he's actually been in the weeds trying to make the NFL a bit more of a future-facing product. If he can do that, now if that's the job he's been doing, if he can do that, the PGA Tour, that's got to be a win, right, Lewis?
Absolutely, yeah. Like bringing fresh ideas to the media and like broadcast side of it would be huge, because I think we're quite lucky over here with how we get to watch the PGA Tour, but you hear a lot of our American colleagues like complaining about broadcast windows and whatever else. So if you can have a positive influence on that, then brilliant. But yeah, give the guy a chance. It seems like he's had a brilliant career from what you're saying, and seems to know his stuff. As much as he's, fair enough, he's admitted he's not like a super golf fan like by any stretch at the moment, but
don't think he needs to be though, does he?
Doesn't need to be. No, he's coming from fresh ideas, fresh perspectives. It's got to be a good thing.
Because it's funny, like with this job, even the amount of people, I always have this dread when I go to weddings. You'll be sat at a table, if it's not some like close family member. Typically this happens with my wife's colleagues or friends, and I end up having to go along. We'll sit at the table and we're in that group of people who, you know, are also there but don't have a link really directly to the happily married couple. And the conversation around dinner usually starts along the lines of, so what do you do then? Nice to meet you. What is it you do? And I dread the question, because when I say, well, I'm a golf writer, the next question I get asked is, oh, so are you really good at golf then? I just think, well, why would I, if I was really good at golf, I'd be a golfer.
Not writing about it and watching it.
Such a good point.
Those who can do, those who can't write about it. I can't imagine football journalists get that. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So what do you do? I'm a football writer. Oh, are you really good at fives? Like, no.
Maybe they do. I don't know.
Just always found it a bit of a strange one. So that doesn't. The fact that, you know, Brian Rolapp hasn't got the strongest golf background, I'm really not that bothered.
No.
He's coming in probably then from a place of, I would hope, no bias, no preconceived agenda, no particularly formed ideas. He'll come in with an open mind and hopefully do a good job.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll wait and see.
The American Horse Council, by the way.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Formed in the late 1960s. Oh, there you go. It's also a 501c non-profit.
Right.
Just like the PGA Tour. Yeah, actually looks thoroughly dull. When it said American Horse Council, I had like visions of, you know, red rum and desert orchids sitting around a table.
Around a table.
The nays have it.
Very good.
Oh, Jesus.
That was terrible.
That
great.
awful.
Yeah.
So, KPMG Women's PGA Championship, that also took place last week. Congratulations to Minjee Lee, a player that you've spent some time with over the years, Lewis.
Yep.
You've interviewed her on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
Her third major win, I believe it is now.
I think so,
Third leg, certainly, of the career Grand Slam in the women's game.
Fair play.
Minwoo's sister.
Yeah.
What's so impressive about her, as far as you're concerned, Lewis, as someone who's seen her up close?
Yeah, I think at the weekend, this probably showcased it in that growing up in Perth, Australia, like in sand belts, you have to be really patient with the way that you play. Patience would have been a virtue at the weekend playing this tournament by the looks of things.
Yes.
But
ever thus.
She's a very rounded game. She's really, really good ball striker. And at the weekend there, I think on Saturday, she didn't make a bogey, which round that golf course is incredible stuff.
Outrageous.
Scoring was
this was
high, wasn't it?
Fields Ranch East, which is the new course at the PGA of America's headquarters in Frisco, Texas.
That's right.
Played it.
Have you?
Yep.
You played Fields Ranch East?
Yeah.
Where was this last week?
Yeah.
I've played Fields Ranch East. Here's what the women need to know for.
Yeah.
That could have been a great story in the website. I'll just sit on that.
That's fine.
Sorry about that. No, it was.
No, that's all right. Fine.
We
you
went.
Don't need to be sorry.
No, that was.
Fine, James. You only get one chance to tell the story first.
Yeah,
so
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But no, that was when we went out for one of the Callaway events for their AI1 putter launch.
Ah, right. Okay.
That was last year, and it was Baltic.
Was it good?
It's an interesting course. I didn't think it was that hard, but obviously the way it's been set up.
Lewis's head in his hands.
I generally didn't think it was that hard, but obviously the way it's been set up.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah, is they've made it incredibly difficult because it does play. You can make it really long, as well. But like the greens are very quick, so the balls can run off the greens, and you catch like one of those false fronts, you're toast.
So I think that's what has maybe been the issue last week, because there was an issue last week. slow play once again was the overbearing topic of conversation at the women's PGA. We know that there are slow players in the women's game. There's some horrifically slow players, just as there are in the men's game. But I think in this instance, it was less to do with the players and more to do with the way they set up what is, well, James thinks it's easy, but the prevailing wisdom is that it's quite a tough course if it's set up.
Yeah. It looks like it.
I mean, the greens were really, really hard.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was windy as well.
Yeah.
So when all that happens, I think it's natural that play slows down. You end up with bottlenecks. Nelly Korda spoke a bit about it at the weekend. She seemed quite frustrated. I mean, Nelly's a fast player anyway, but frustrated that you couldn't get any momentum going, which is absolutely the case. Walking onto a tee, waiting for 15 minutes, finally completing that hole, walking onto the next tee, waiting for another 15 minutes, as she put it. It feels like this has to be the top priority for the new LPGA commissioner, Craig Kessler, when he comes in, is to do something about the game's slow play issue.
Yep.
We talk about slow play in the women's game more than we do in the men's game, and it feels like that's going to be the single biggest thing that's going to put people off, isn't it? If that's your perception, women's golf is slow, well,
not great.
People
doesn't
aren't
make a
going to
good product to watch. Yeah, talking like Nelly Korda saying it's taken her well over 3 hours to play 9 holes in a 2-ball. It was her and Brooke Henderson, with two very quick players.
Very quick players.
Yeah, fast players. And there's such a turn off from wanting to watch the event because you tune in. I was tuning in, obviously watched like Fleetwood last night, but over the weekend, other parts. And it's tough. I don't want to bash the players for it because this week was an exceptional circumstance where, as you've touched on, so many factors have come together to create this kind of perfect storm where rounds are taking absolutely ages. But for a viewer point of view, like if you're tuning in on the off chance and you watch someone that takes them like half an hour to play a hole, you're just going to tune out, unfortunately, unless you're a huge fan.
Yeah, and if you're tuning in to watch Nelly Korda, for example, who's probably one of the most appealing players to watch, she's certainly got that, I guess that's almost transcendent appeal. If you hear she's playing in a major, you tune in to watch, and the first thing you see is her just standing around picking her nails, waiting for her opportunity to hit. It's a bad look. Yeah. But how do they fix it? I mean,
I don't know.
To your point, Lewis, there's a lot of factors that contribute. You can't control the weather, but the stuff that you can control, what do they need to do? Do they need to start setting up courses a little bit easier? Do they need to start punishing players a bit more stringently? Do they need to start broadcasting and revealing the names of the players that are punishing and to what extent? Because this is a problem, and it feels
difficult.
like I feel like all I've done is talk about slow play in women's golf for a long time, but nothing changes.
I wish I knew the answer. If I knew, I would tell you. I think there's a combination of things. Making the course easier is maybe one of those, but Minjee Lee has played so well over that difficult course. If the course was really easy, she might not have won. So the major championship's there to identify someone who's played the best golf. So I don't think that's the solution. Players not saying that it's all on them, but they do need to take some responsibility. You watch simple things that we're taught from a young age, like be ready to play when it's your turn. See that so often where players won't be ready when it's their turn to hit in the fairway, and you think, if everyone just does that a little bit better, it's going to help. It's not going to completely solve the issue, but yeah, I wish I could give you like a silver bullet to solve this here. I don't know.
I just don't understand. With these girls, they are the best of the best. They're at the top of the game. They know the yardage inside out. What the hell is taking them so long? Like, are they just walking really bloody slowly? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. I'm a pretty quick player, but if I was as good as them and I knew my numbers down to a T, I'd probably be even faster. I don't understand. Yes, I know there's different factors to take in, like where you want to place the ball, wind, etc. But if you know your number and you know where you're trying to hit it, just I don't see what takes so much time to do that. When you get up to the green, slightly different. I know, reading putts can take a little bit of time, but again, if you're looking behind the hole and then looking behind it and walking the putt, then surely you know your line and where you need to hit it. It shouldn't be taking 6 hours for a 2-ball. It's mental.
That's just ridiculous.
It's an absolute piss take. But the solution is either they're going to get like shot clock violation or something like that, or a penalty for slow play.
Mhm.
But they need to rectify it because it is getting a little bit out of hand. And like Lewis was saying, it's like you tune in to watch that. It's like, are they going to hit a golf shot anytime soon?
Yeah, I know.
Like, what am I watching? I could have watched an episode of Friends by now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of
That's got to be the stress test.
Yeah.
Can you watch an episode of Friends or say Modern Family, which are usually about 20 minutes,
Yeah.
in between the time it takes a top player to play a hole
Yeah.
on a major?
yeah,
It's getting that way.
It is,
it
isn't
is, and that's a joke.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway, right.
Mm.
I was going to talk a little bit about Wyndham Clark, but time is against us. Long story short, Wyndham Clark said sorry and we'd quite like us all to move on.
Let's move on.
So
then.
let's move on then, Wyndham. Just
But
in future,
Don't do it again.
Yeah.
You muppet.
stop doing it. Stop breaking lockers.
Yeah. Boys at the pram.
Indeed. Right. So instead, it's Podder of Merit time.
I
Sound,
don't want to celebrate.
sound the, I don't know, the trumpets.
Yeah.
Last week, the Travellers Championship. James, you picked Sam Burns,
Yeah.
coming off the back of disappointment at the US Open.
Yes.
Showed up pretty well. Give you kudos for that. Finished in
Yeah.
a tie for 17th. I went with Ryan Fox, who again was coming off the back of the US Open, where he, I think, was
Yeah.
last man in from memory.
Pretty
And he
solid.
too finished in the tie for 17th. And Lewis, you picked Tommy Fleetwood.
Yep.
So Tommy got you 2 points.
Well
Yeah.
done, Tommy.
And
Bittersweet.
that, Lewis, is enough
Yes.
for you to win this season of Podder of Merit. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a sad little life,
Oh,
Jane.
it's the worst way to win anything ever, isn't it? Celebrating
Keegan
winning with
Bradley
Tommy
would
Fleetwood.
disagree.
Yeah, well, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you
Thanks.
feel? So just for the
Good.
paperwork, I should
Yeah.
add that James and I finished in a tie for 17th. I get the point there because of Ryan Fox's better final round.
Count back.
Count back.
66 beats
Come back,
69.
done me.
So the final standings, Lewis 15 points, James 12. I got 4. So yeah, Lewis,
Well
how do you
done.
feel?
Yeah, delighted.
Yeah, talk
Very
us through your
happy. I
birdies
think
and
it was-
bogeys. That's what Rory thinks we should talk
Birdies and
about.
bogeys, yeah. Let's not talk through Tommy Fleetwood's
No,
round
let's
to,
not.
to win
Let's
it
not.
last night.
Ah, tough.
Yeah, I really wish Fleetwood did one last night to kind of
Mhm.
cap it off for me and blast through the 15-point barrier with
I know you
an
could have
extra.
had 16.
Had 16. Would that
Yeah.
have been a record? Can't imagine anyone's got to.
I think, what's the
Maybe.
maximum you could get in this game? It would be 17, wouldn't it?
Well, I suppose, yeah, if you're on 14 and then your player wins, you
Yeah.
could get up to 17. So, yeah, very pleased with the season overall. You know, it's been good. Teams performed well. There's been a lot of substitutions throughout the year, but I think everyone who's come in has really
Yep.
applied themselves well to the cause and, you know, to
Is
get
fucking
this
Steve
title at the
Clark
end of the
listening?
season.
It's like Duncan Ferguson in for this alley.
It is
The
not
players-
like Duncan
the players
Ferguson.
They really applied themselves so well, eh?
Aye,
They really
aye,
applied themselves so well. I'm really pleased with how they did. The young lad Carragher on loan from Liverpool, eh? Ah, brilliant.
Never compare me to Duncan Ferguson ever again.
How to ruin a good moment for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Lewis. So yeah, you are the new champ. Well done.
Thank you.
I will be receiving the white belt of shame for finishing last. There's no prize.
Yeah, I
So,
was like sort of looking under the table to see if there's any like looking on the shelves behind me.
James, you got any spare trophies we could give him? Just
any like long
Nothing.
drive
Nah.
ones? Think
nothing
right
at
now.
all. All you
Alright.
get is like the
Right.
the satisfaction of
Okay.
winning.
Take that.
Got a
Happy
round
with
of
that. Yeah.
applause.
Excellent.
Yeah, a round of applause. Don't get that often. Take it.
Indeed. So
Thank you.
look, no picks this week. Reason being, there's no pod next week. I am going on holiday.
Hey.
Well deserved.
Thank you. I'm
Good
going
to see
away
you.
with the family.
Where are you going?
France.
Nice.
Ah, oui, oui.
Oui, oui. Certainement.
Sacré,
Parlez-vous français?
sacré
Seulement un
bleu.
peu?
Petit.
Je ne parle pas beaucoup de français, seulement quand j'étais à l'université. See, now you're screwed.
Ah,
No, we're
There's
going
something
to,
about university in there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Where I studied at uni. Is that
No,
what you said?
I only speak a bit of French. I spoke more when I was at university.
Oh, right,
which I
okay.
did. No, we're going to Euro Disney.
aha.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought that was
Buzzing.
your French accent.
Aha.
Oh, yeah,
Pain au chocolat.
we're going to France, and then I am going to Wimbledon when I get back.
Oh,
First
nice.
ever time at Wimbledon.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Get the strawberries and cream.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
that guy sitting in the back of Fort One that just shouts, "Come on, Tim!"
Nice.
in a really sort of ironic way.
Amazing.
So yeah, no, looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
So yeah, no pod next week, ladies and gents. Just so you know, the new season of Podder of Merit will therefore start with the episode that follows, which will be at the start of Scottish Open week, which will be really good.
Good.
So get your thinking caps on. I was going to say the pick order would be determined by how we finish, but it won't. We'll draw lots.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
How's
Yeah,
that
like
sound?
in a playoff in the PGA Tour.
Yeah, we'll bring in Rod Stewart to do the draw.
One.
If you don't know that reference,
Yeah.
I suggest you Google it. You will be amused. So we will finish up with Bear Lies and, well, Champ, it's your turn.
Excellent.
Look
That's
at his look
yeah.
at his face lit up when I called him
here we
I
Champ.
go.
didn't even
Yeah,
want to
I'm
look
liking
to my
this.
left because I could
This is
feel
great.
the.
It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
look.
that's nice.
Better luck next time, boys.
I
eh?
could
Bear
feel.
look next.
Better luck next year.
We lost, Cyril. No, on you go, Lewis. Bear Lies. What have you got for us this
Okay,
week?
I've been debating whether I should say this one.
Oh,
Lie.
say it. Say it.
Yeah. I used to get in trouble while working in my old job at KFC as I handed out too much free food.
I mean, that's the truth, isn't it? You must have done that. I'm struggling to see the golf reference in there as well.
No, well, I mean, you spoke about singing the Norwegian national anthem
because
last
Victor
week.
Hovland reminded me of it.
Oh, yeah. What was there was something that reminded me. No, I can't think. There's no
Justin,
golf.
but this is simple. I'll do it for you. Justin Thomas is from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky is famous for Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC.
Yep.
I used to work there and
Yep.
got in trouble for giving. It's so just a little bit of thought. Is
You
all
could
I'm
have
asking.
you could have written a lie for him.
Exactly.
Jump.
Except it's true though, isn't it? Lewis giving
probably.
away free food. Now,
Or did he take
which
it himself?
KFC did you work in?
Yeah.
Was in Inverness on Milburn Road. for
Giving
anyone
away
who's
free food
up
just
there.
feels like a.
KFC made it up to Inverness.
Yeah. People used to
Actually-
come from all around like north of Scotland.
People
yeah.
used to come far and wide.
Yeah,
for the-
Families in Dingwall. What are we doing today? Oh, we're going to
Yeah.
Inverness for a KFC.
We used to get, I'm not kidding when I say it, we used to get families from Skye coming down purely for KFC. I love
What?
Skye. Yeah, honest.
People
I
used-
lived in Orkney.
Yeah.
I
Did you
never-
come down for
I
KFC?
never did.
No.
But I do remember.
Deliveroo.
Yeah.
I do remember having this. This is weird. I've not thought about this in years. I do remember thinking when I was a kid, because I was really into football and I wanted football shirts. And I remember thinking that the closest JJB Sports to my house in Orkney was in Inverness.
Really?
I know the very
true.
one you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
JJB, those were
Gone
the days,
now.
aren't they? Yeah,
Oh,
long
Those
gone.
were the days.
They became like DW, didn't they?
DW Sports Directs and stuff like that,
Oh,
didn't they?
Dave Whelan.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, God.
giving away free. So you worked in one in Inverness,
Mm.
giving away free food.
What
I
were you
mean,
giving away, though? Like-
yeah.
Well,
Drumsticks?
yeah.
Family buckets?
So the
Popcorn chicken?
Family buckets. I mean,
family buckets.
that
Yeah.
just sounds so refined, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
Popcorn chicken was a common one. Basically, the way that the drive-through would work is that you'd obviously order at the speaker, and then you drive around to the window. But if someone had ordered after you in the time it had taken you to get to the window, which was common when it was really busy,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to add anything onto your order. So say you spoke into the speaker and you said, "Hi there, can I get 2 fillet burger meals, please?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem. Anything else for you?" And they'd be like, no, that's everything. I say, all right, drive around to the window. And they'd be like, actually, mate, can I get a medium popcorn chicken as well? If you're like, couldn't say no, because then that's just ludicrous, isn't it? What's the point of being in the drive-thru?
So there's a systemic fault.
Yeah, I couldn't add that on. So I went round to the front.
Grab
to,
the
like,
popcorn chicken and
I
put it in the
just chucked it
bag.
in the bag, yeah. But that became an issue after a while.
Right. So I was going to ask who you're giving this free food away to.
Was it to mates or just anyone
Well,
who ordered something
was
extra
women.
at the window?
This was Lewis's way of chatting up women, wasn't it? There you go, darling. There's a Zinger Tower burger just for you. It's on me.
Also, Zinger Tower Burger, elite.
Ah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Sensational.
They used to
This is
do-
not a plug, by the way, for KFC.
Yeah, this is what this segment is.
Yeah.
It's a
Bear Lies brought to you
sneakily-
by KFC.
Yeah,
wish
yeah.
it was.
Yeah, I remember there used to be something called a Zinger Tower wrap
Ooh.
way back when,
The
which
old
was
secret menu there.
oh special.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There was that, and then if I was having like a particularly long day, honestly, if someone was just like engaged in like normal conversation with me and didn't, so when I'd ask them like, "Oh, how's it going today?" and they'd be like, "Fillet burger." Don't be a dick. Like, come on, just say, "Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you?" And if they would do that, I'd be like, "Oh, just chuck an extra bit of chicken in your boneless banquet, mate. Nice one, thanks for that." But the managers cottoned on to it pretty quick.
so
Oh.
this wasn't an attempt to woo women.
No,
No, it wasn't. There's
Not-
some gravy for you, darling.
not most of the time anyway.
You like a Pepsi?
Yeah, no.
Hang on.
Maybe I should
I'll
have done
fetch
that.
you a straw.
Yeah.
Get you an Oreo crush 'em.
Crusher machine never worked.
So how?
So it's always off.
I'm sorry,
Anyway,
our
how
ice
does this come to
machine's
light?
broken.
Well, there was there
How
was
did
an
you
inc-
get busted, Lewis?
I got busted when James Vincent drove round the drive-through.
Who's James Vincent?
He scored the winning goal for Inverness in the Scottish Cup final in 2015. And he was here in his second spell at the club, which was not quite as successful. I mean, you can't really top that, can you? Came round the drive-through
Well,
with
no, if you're
his...
Inverness Cali, you can.
Well, no.
No.
I mean, winning the Scottish Cup didn't get much better, does it? He came through and ordered whatever he ordered for his family, I presume, because it was pre-season. So obviously, James, athlete, not going to be
Yeah.
KFC rubbish. So I saw him. I was like, can't just let him like drive past. So grabbed a couple of large popcorn chickens, chucked them in the bag, and then my manager was like, "What on earth have you just done there, Lewis? How am I going to explain this one?" So got pulled into the office.
Did you get fired?
No.
So what did they say?
Well,
Coming out of your pocket.
she was like,
What did your 21-year-old manager tell you?
she was like,
She had
she's
school
like,
the
"Look,
next day.
you can't just do that.
I told
like,
you this was in between English and maths last week.
like, why did you do that? And she's not a football fan. She didn't really understand sort
Right.
of the gravity of the situation. She's like, if you want to do that, then like you can pay for it. I'm like, well, okay. So I sort of took it in the chin. But nah, didn't get fired. But if I'd carried on, I think it would have become an issue.
Mm.
But I didn't. Just so
So you stopped.
I stopped.
As soon as
I
you got the
think-
ball,
I
you
think
stopped it.
James Vincent was the last one. Yeah. So lucky him.
He'll never know. Well, now he does.
Yeah.
No, he knew. I
Oh,
was,
did he? Aye.
yeah, because I think he used to hand out like a separate bag of like napkins and salt, but in his napkins and salt bag, he had
Mm.
popcorn, chicken, and chips.
Jeez, oh.
That's
Wow.
absolutely
Is-
true. There's no question. in
Yeah,
my
I know.
mind.
It's
That's-
too true.
Of course it is.
Yeah. I wish you were still working there.
No.
'Cause, look, I think they've changed the till system now. I think they
I think you can add it
yeah,
on.
bit more
now.
sophisticated.
a bit more up to date with the 21st century.
Why are we
yeah.
down 100 grand worth in food?
Yeah, wait, I saw it. They were. You're not going to notice it, are they?
You're
Big,
the
like,
reason that the price of chickens. You're the reason for the cost of living crisis, Lewis.
KFC's so expensive now.
it
By the
It
way,
started
is
with
so expensive.
People
yeah.
noticing that chickens were disappearing and having to put the prices up to compensate for it.
my fault.
And it then was just like a chain of events. Chicken becomes corn on the cob, becomes gravy, becomes
Yeah.
potatoes. Next thing you know, you're spending like £6.70 on a cauliflower at Asda, and it's
Yeah.
all your fault.
Sorry. I don't. Well, I'm not sorry because I do it again.
Cauliflower's wild.
So it was true.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
yeah,
There wasn't really much
yeah.
down
No,
in
no,
that,
no,
was
wasn't,
it?
no.
There wasn't.
No.
No.
Do you miss those days at KFC?
No, no, frankly.
Did you get
Um,
free food all the time?
Yeah, that novelty wears off pretty quick because
Yeah.
you'd
It's just
get like
grease
a
all
free.
the time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so greasy. Yeah, I didn't miss it. Late nights and then
Stinking of it as well, probably.
well, yeah, it's stuck to your clothes. So
Oh,
and you're in from like sort of 3 o'clock in the afternoon till
Really?
like midnight. You're like, oh, what, get out.
yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't miss it at all. Not one bit. I'd love to say it.
Have you gone off KFC as in eating it now? Like, say I said to you, let's go to KFC for lunch.
You get PTSD a little bit.
A little bit? Yeah, I don't mind it. There's some things I won't order again. I will say
Like?
that. Gravy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? What's in it?
The
Lewis?
way. So they make it
Oh,
by. Do you want to hear
massive,
this?
massive. You know, if you don't want to know how this
Yeah.
is made, stop listening
Uh-huh,
now.
that is one of those.
Thanks for
yeah.
listening. See you in a couple of weeks' time.
Go and
Go for it,
watch the
Lewis.
YouTube video of Happy Gilmore now instead of the last
Yeah,
5 minutes
yeah,
of this.
Yeah, good shout.
How
So,
do KFC gravy's
they have
made?
the
Oh God,
big-
where's our lawyers?
They have the big fryer with
Right.
on the bone chicken, right? Like drumsticks and that. And throughout the day, all the grease will like fall from under that into a big vat that's kept on the floor.
Stands to reason. Yeah.
That will like congeal over time for like a couple days.
Yeah.
And then that will get basically like shoveled into a big massive Tupperware. Then we'll add water into that and like a grey bag, mix it all together.
What's in the grey bag,
I
Lewis?
don't know. Don't know what's in the grey bag. Some sort of powder. You try to take this powder through airport security, maybe you get taken to the side. Put it that way. It
The
looks dodgy as
spices, I
anything.
assume.
I assume so. We didn't get told. We didn't get told the secret recipe or anything.
How big's the?
How big's the bag?
Yeah,
Pretty big.
like a kilo.
Is it like a sack, or is it just like a bag?
Trying to compare it to something.
Like
It's more than a salt sachet you get for the chips,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
less
yeah,
than
yeah.
a bag of sugar.
I would say it was similar size to like a bag of frozen chips you'd get in Tesco.
Oh,
Quite
so
big.
almost like a shopping bag.
Yeah, big.
Yeah, carry bag.
Yeah, a big bag.
Of unidentified powder.
Yes. It's a big silver bag. Yeah. You just chuck it in the gravy and then you'd stick it in the microwave for 20 minutes, stir it, and then it was getting chucked out the drive-through window.
See the wee
Sometimes without anyone paying for it.
See the bands lining up outside KFC. Where's your powder, mate?
Oh my god.
Oh.
I did not expect when we started recording this podcast this morning that I would have gone off KFC by the end of it.
Yeah. Everything else is fine.
I'm never having
Yeah.
gravy
Just
again.
the gravy.
Jeez.
So there you go.
KFC for lunch, boys.
Yes. It's that time, isn't it?
Double gravy.
Double gravy.
Just never meet your
large
heroes.
gravy. Yeah,
No.
sorry. I've
Just never
ruined
meet your
that.
heroes.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks for that, Lewis. Thanks for
You're
ruining KFC for everybody.
No worries.
Honestly, I feel a wee bit sick. When I think of the times I've had KFC gravy over the years, and now I'm like,
Ah, you're fine. You've made it this far. It can't be that bad.
I know what you mean, though.
oh, it goes for your hair. That's why. Right. On that note, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
A pleasure. Well, somewhat of a pleasure as always. Thank you to you for listening. A reminder that we won't be around next week because I'm on my holly bags. Oh, by the way, that's a word that really gives me the ick. It came out. I'm off of my holly bobs. Shut up.
That made me feel sick.
Going on my
I
holidays.
threw up in my mouth.
I'd rather say vacation than holly bobs.
But you said,
Bobs.
you said
Oh,
holly bags.
geez.
Wow, you said
Holly
holly bags,
bags.
holly bobs.
Let's
Go on, get them all out.
Let's try this again. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Thank
Michael.
you, Michael.
Thank you to you for listening or watching,
Yeah.
wherever you were.
Enjoy your
I won't
holly
be around
bobs.
next week because I won't be here. So yeah, we'll be back at the start of Scottish Open Week. Thank you, Callaway, for your continued support. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, dogs, and whatever went in the gravy, it's bye-bye for now.